Hello, everyone. Welcome to the May 14th episode of Stack in the Box. Iain MacMillan here and Sterling Holmes, joined by what basically sounds like to you, the viewer and listener, a brand new Sterling Holmes. Sterling, say something for us.
Yeah, baby.
We have, the listeners and viewers out there, you might have noticed that over the past couple months, and Sterling has moved to his new studio, he sounded a little bit quiet. And last week, he thought he was clicking the beep while throwing out a couple curses, and we could not hear the beep on our end. The issue has been solved. Sterling has not checked his settings before going live for months now.
Okay.
And he finally did before he went live today. It is fixed. His actual microphone is working, and we can hear his soundboard.
You absolute son of a... Okay. It's just, we fixed it. Wait, do we not fix it? Sean said it sounds different on YouTube, same on audio. Did we not fix it? Oh, no. Did I just cuss again? Did I cuss again?
No, you're good now.
Okay, good. So you heard the beep, right? The
beep
I
heard the beep on my end. Yeah. The beep is working.
Okay, so what had happened, everyone? When I do different podcasts, Arrowhead Addict and everything, it's already saved. It saves all my stuff, okay? When I was doing Stack in the Box and I moved, shockingly, none of my settings saved on this particular back-end platform. Well, I didn't know why. I just assumed that, okay, it's I'm not a tech guy. I'm a talk guy, not a tech guy. Both start with T's. Both are very different. And I had eventually been looking on this. I'm like, well, it says it's plugged in. Well, there's two plugins on my Rodecaster Pro. No one cares, I understand, but I'm still going to say this because it makes me feel better. Makes me feel like less of a dumbass. I have the chat setting, and then I have the whole main setup. I had it clicked on the wrong thing. So, yes, you know what? Credit to me for being honest. Credit to me for, Iain, credit to me for taking this and being strong in the face of adversity and understanding that I have strengths. I have a lot of weaknesses. But now my strength should hopefully be bolstered by me using the right microphone finally.
I think what producer Sean was saying is that I think the audio listener, so if you just listen to this on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever, the audio has been fine the past few weeks. You probably only heard Sterling being quiet if you were watching this on YouTube. But now the audio is good on both YouTube and the audio version of this podcast. So we are good to go. And that's, it's good reason, or it's a good thing that we are good to go because the NFL schedule will get released tonight in about 4 hours. Is it 9 p.m. or 8 p.m. Eastern that it comes out? 3 or 4 hours. The full schedule will be released, but I feel like we've already been given most of it, if not all of it. I mean, I even saw a tweet from someone like a Falcons person who had the whole schedule already, and they tweeted it out. So let's start there. What are your thoughts, Sterling, on how the NFL schedule gets released? Because they come out on draft night. They say, everyone mark your calendar, May 14th. We're going to do the schedule release, but then the days leading up to it, games get leaked, some on purpose, some not on purpose. And then by the time the schedule release happens, it's like we already know all of the games. I hate this, Sterling.
By the way, Sean's the most excited. Producer Sean's the most excited about my microphone being fixed. Congratulations, Sean. I have saved you so much time and effort. I don't mind it. It's kind of fun. It's fun because you can talk about each game individually on the 14th. Because if we just leave it to the 14th, when they start trickling out in the morning, it's like, oh, look at this tidbit. Oh, look at this little Christmas present. Oh, look at this little Christmas present. If it's all at once, it can be a little overwhelming almost, right? If everything came out at the exact same time, it's a little overwhelming. I get probably where you're coming from, where it's like, if you're going to make it so-and-so at 8 o'clock, then do it at so-and-so at 8 o'clock like you said it was going to be. But since it's pretty much always all on one day, like it wasn't like we knew the entire Chiefs schedule. We may have known like a game before today, but now we know, I believe, 9 games on the Chiefs schedule. And I don't mind the trickling out on a specific day. Doesn't bother me.
I hate it. I don't think it's a big enough deal for them to release it all in one day and for them to trickle it out. Either do one or the other. And I would prefer that they just release it all at once. I wish we didn't know any games until tonight at 8 o'clock. I wish it was released like the bracket release for March Madness. I wish they had a little 30-minute show. They make a little bit of a bigger deal of all the primetime games and go week by week. I think that would be fun. It'd probably have to be longer than 30 minutes. An hour-long show. They go week by week, release the schedule. But now it's like I don't even really care about the schedule release night because you hyped it up to be this big thing, and now I pretty much already know all the Falcons games.
The pushback I will give is there are 32 teams. 32 times 17 to talk about all of those is going to take a long time. You're not talking half hour, an hour.
No, I think you could do it in an hour. You show the schedule on screen, and then you have like a panel, and each person on the panel gives like 3 sentences about a game that they're excited for in the week, and then you go on to the next week.
Here we go. 32 times 17 equals
hold on
544.
You're not hearing what I'm saying.
I am, but if
the week is shown on the screen. So they're not actually verbally saying every single game. The week is shown on the screen, and then they go to a panel, and each person on the panel, 5-person panel, gives a 30-second response about the game they're looking forward to the most that week. That's it.
Because no one's going to talk about the Jags or the Jets or the
Correct.
Giants or the... No, I'm the Chiefs
Be
guy.
better then.
No one's going to talk about the Falcons. Okay, because...
Falcons have like 5 primetime games, so we're talking about the Falcons this year, baby.
But the point remains, I'm a Chiefs guy, and I also think that would be unfair coverage of Kansas City. That would be KC, Philly, your Falcons. I just think that would be too much. All the teams, if you're a Panthers fan, you would be absolutely pissed.
You're wrong about this. I'm right. My vision would be fantastic. And if you want to hear about the Panthers, then tune into like local Panthers Carolina radio during the hour-long draft release and listen to them talk about it instead.
Congrats on getting more Cowboys talk. That's all you'd be doing.
Yeah, but that's all NFL media. They're going to talk about the teams that get the most views, that get the most attention. It just is what it is. So you're fine with the current format? I'm
fine with it. I'm whelmed.
How do you feel about the social media videos that teams put out on schedule release night?
Yeah, some are phenomenal. I still go back to the Titans a couple of years ago, and they just went down Broadway and had random people try and just the logo of the teams, and people who knew nothing about football, they're playing the horses or they're playing the whatever it would be, and it was just so damn good. They're great. The Chargers have no fans, but their social media team is phenomenal. I think the Chargers one's really good too. To me, it's the Chargers and the Titans over the past couple of years that have really stood out as like, okay, that's fun. Those are good. Those are well done. I think a lot of times they're trying to be edgy or trying to be fun. Yeah. And they miss the mark, but I don't mind them trying. It's enjoyable. If you work for social media for these teams, this is probably the most fun you're going to have. This is your Super Bowl.
Yeah. Especially for bad teams that won't actually ever play in a Super Bowl. So this is their Super Bowl.
Yeah, like the Falcons. Well, they played in one.
2. Played in 2. All right. Speaking of how, a schedule release show would just focus on the Cowboys. Opening night, Cowboys and the Eagles. Actually, I want to go through some of these key games that have been released already, Sterling. Have you looked at any of the odds or spreads for these games?
Oh, no, dude. We're so far. They have spreads out for these games?
Yes. When the schedule is released tonight, they'll have at least for every single week 1 game. I think they'll probably have spreads for every game in the NFL season.
Absurd.
I want to play a game of Guess the Spread.
Okay.
Opening night, it is the Dallas Cowboys, obviously the Philadelphia Eagles, more often than not, actually large majority of time, the defending Super Bowl champions play opening night. So it is the Eagles hosting the Dallas Cowboys NFC East rivalry. Give me your guess what the spread is, and then give me your thoughts on the game.
Yeah, I think it's been every single time the team that won plays in it, besides one when the Chicago Bears did for the 100th year anniversary of the NFL or whatever that was.
It was the Patriots one year who were the defending champs who didn't play on opening night. Was that the only year it didn't happen?
I think that was the Bears. That was when the Bears played because of the historical aspect of it. The line, I think, is... Ooh, this is in Philly, right?
In Philly, they're going to raise their banner.
Cowboys always get a lot of love. I'll go Eagles 6.5.
Almost nailed it, 7. And I think there is a 6.5 somewhere, so I'll give it to you.
Thank you.
Eagles, obviously a team that heading into the season, returning the large majority of the exact same roster they had last season, especially all their offensive skill position players. The Cowboys, they got George Pickens and a new coach, kind of. Is that deserving of it being that big of a spread?
Yeah, I think it's fair. That's what I thought it would be, about 6.5. I actually thought that maybe it would be lower. It'd be like 4.5 or 3.5 because people just absolutely love the love the Cowboys. No, that seems about fair to me. 6.5. I mean, we're so far away. Who knows? There might be an injury that happens that we have no idea about.
Mm-hmm. I was trying to look up the year that the Patriots didn't play.
It's probably 6 years ago or so. 5 years.
We'll keep on moving. Producer Sean says Dak Prescott's career record against the Eagles is 9-4. Yeah, but I mean, the Cowboys were a better team than the Eagles most of those years, up until the past couple years, or last year specifically. Should be a fun one. Rivalry game sucks for Cowboys, sucks for Cowboy fans that they have to stand there and watch your heated rival raise a Super Bowl banner in front of your eyes.
Love it. Love it.
Let's talk about international games. 7 international games set for 2025. It is the most international games in an NFL season. I know my Falcons are playing in an international game week 10 against the Colts in Germany. The Chiefs, I think, week 1, right? Is that in?
They play, First game of the season
back in Brazil?
Is in Brazil. Second game's against the Eagles.
So just talk international games. Like them, hate them.
Hate them.
Too many, not enough.
Them. Too many, hate them. I mean, if you're the Vikings, you play back-to-back weeks, once in Ireland and then once in London. I mean,
yep.
What are we doing? Do we care about the product or not? Seriously, do we care about the product or not? Because if we don't care about the product, then have all the international games you want. Fine. If you care about the product, this sucks. The Chiefs are playing on a field that last year caused so many damn issues. The Chiefs tried to play, the Rams in Mexico, and they're like, yeah, this field sucks. We got to move. I will never understand some of these international games. Like London has proved, okay, they've done it right. And if the Jacksonville Jags want to have one game a year over there because they're London's team or the UK's team, fine. I'm okay. I will acquiesce. They've proven they can host over there. Germany's actually done a decent job. Okay, I understand. Fine. But Brazil was such a disaster last year. Sorry, if you mess up the first time, I don't think you get a second chance. Maybe that's too harsh, but if once you mess up once, this is that is a test. That was the test to see if you can host. You failed. The players don't like it. The players hate it. They can't leave without armed bodyguards.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to wear green, and you sent the Packers and Eagles last year. I don't know what the NFL's doing. I don't understand this. I can't imagine the juice is worth the squeeze monetarily.
Grow the game.
In what way?
Well, I believe their thinking would be that if they're playing games in these countries, and a person who's not a fan of the NFL goes to the game, they're now going to be a fan of the NFL. They're going to buy the cable packages. They're going to buy merch. They're going to maybe travel to the States to watch a game.
A lot of maybes. Because I'm assuming if they like watching football, they're already watching it. It's not like you're watching other leagues play football, really. I mean, Canadian football to an extent, but only if you live in Canada. I don't really think there's a lot of people in Brazil saying, I got to watch that CFL game. Let me watch the Rough Riders.
No, but there's but NFL's not that big in Brazil.
Sure.
And Brazil's a huge market.
I just think that, and again, I've already told this a lot. I don't love international games. I need to see the breakdown monetarily of how much extra revenue that brings in. Salary cap keeps going up, and people say, well, look, it must be the international games. I say, prove to me which part's the international games versus the game itself just growing. Would it grow by itself? Has the game been growing already in Brazil without them going there? And by the way, if you do want to go there, which, okay, we've come to the conclusion they're going to do this. Do a preseason game. Fine. Sure. Players would hate it, even more so probably.
Well, that's international games used to just be preseason, I feel like.
Yeah. Then do it.
Like Japan, a couple of years for preseason games or something, yeah.
And if that's the way you want to go about it, okay. But my point is, every time there's an international game, I go, I can't take anything away from it. I can't. When the Eagles played week 1 against the Packers, the whole talk was the field and that you can't take anything away from the game. You couldn't glean much. Sorry. This is not a shot on Brazil. Like, if there's anyone Brazilian listening, this is not a shot at anything Brazil. This is just international in general. This is what it comes down to. I just don't always enjoy this. If the NFL is trying to be about the product, and we've heard players talk about how they don't love international games, how it messes with your schedule, messes with your timing. The game in Brazil, again, starts 9:15 locally there. When are the Chiefs going to play another 9:15 start time game? Ever? The next year they're going to play in Australia. I'm not even kidding. They're going to have a game in Australia next year.
There's a game in Australia next year, a regular season game in Australia?
Yes. This is my point. It's like, it's where does it stop? Where does it stop? How many games are eventually going to be played over, just overseas, international? Again, that's what it comes down to me. To me, is it doesn't make for a good product, in my opinion. The NFL has a different view, but that's where I come from.
The NFL has taken over North American sport. There's no denying that. They could put games on Christmas. Now the NBA on Christmas is irrelevant. They took over Thanksgiving. They're taking over all the holidays. Sports are now completely changing their schedules to not have things going on during football season. Golf has completely shifted their schedule. The Tour Championship used to be during the football season in the early weeks. Now they've bumped everything back to make sure that gets out of the way before football season starts. They are truly a sports empire in North America. So the next step, if they want to continually grow, because that's what capitalism is, doing is just as good as last year, is a failure. You got to continue to grow. The next logical thing to do would be to branch out internationally and in other countries. And this is how they're doing it.
Yeah.
And probably there will be at some point teams in other countries.
Yeah. And that's where I'm like, okay, but you can't have, I don't know how you have it in the same league. It would have to be a separate entity, which again, they did a long time ago, NFL Europe or NFL Europa. Okay, that's fine. And maybe you figure out a way to make it like soccer where you can move up, you can move down and relegated and all that. I just find the product would suffer with the amount of travel time, with the amount of inability to have some sort of schedule, maybe I'm overreacting and people don't care about this, but that's where I'm coming from.
How many international games do the Chiefs have, did you say, this year? Is it's just one of them?
I think it's the one. Week 1. And the Vikings have back-to-back, Ireland and then London.
As you mentioned, yeah, Vikings have back-to-back. Jaguars had back-to-back, I believe, last year, but they were both in London. So I think the difference with the Vikings is 2 different countries. Now, Ireland to London is not exactly a huge shift in travel between 2 countries, but they are the first team that has back-to-back Europe games in different countries. Steelers in week 4, I believe, and that is technically a Steelers home game, and then London in week 5, which is technically actually a Browns home game. So they actually don't lose any home games by doing it.
So what I've said for the longest time, and I will agree, whenever they went to 17 games, we knew this was going to be a realistic possibility, but what I said would have been fun. What if, instead of going international, you play that 17th game at a college, you play it in Tuscaloosa. You play at the big house in Michigan. You play in Knoxville at where Tennessee plays that seats 105,000 folk. Like, wouldn't that be cool? Like,
yeah, that's not growing the game, though.
It is a little bit. Who's Alabama's team?
Alabama.
My point is, who's their NFL team? Alabama. I know, I get it, but like Atlanta
or New Orleans, I think.
Yeah, maybe it's not even Atlanta because they hate Georgia so much.
Yeah.
Like, that's my point. Like, you go to a market that there's not an NFL team. You play a game in Wyoming. You play a game in, I don't know, Tennessee has the Titans, but still, if you go to, Knoxville or if you go to Michigan, like, I think there's a lot of fun ideas that could be had playing at, I mean, as a Mizzou alum, I know I'm biased here, so this is going to be but how cool would it be to watch the Chiefs play 2 hours east at Faurot Field in Columbia? That'd be so badass.
Yeah, but they're not doing these international games because they're cool though. So it's not going to grow the game playing games in those areas. I mean, the Falcons have a team in Atlanta, and they're like the third most popular football team, and they have a team there. Georgia's more popular for sure. Georgia Tech might be more popular football team in the state of Georgia than the Falcons. So them playing a game in Alabama is not going to change anything. They're growing the game internationally.
Again, I just want to see the monetary output of this.
I mean, I'm sure there is. They wouldn't do it if they wouldn't increase games on a yearly basis if they didn't have some kind of proof that it's working.
Sure.
I mean, the NFL's gotten as big as they are, so I'm going to trust the NFL that they're doing the right things when it comes to marketing because they've crushed the past 4 decades. So
you just know my thoughts. I think product should be held as the highest standard, and I don't think that's true in this instance.
Every continent gets a conference, and then they meet for the Super Bowl of all Super Bowls, and then you can truly call it a world championship.
There you go.
Bring back the Berlin Thunder. Falcons and Colts play in Germany in week 10. I already brought that up. Let's play guess the spread. What do you think the spread's at? Falcons, Colts, Germany.
In week 10?
Week 10.
Already a spread, huh?
Yep.
Falcons -3.5.
-1.5.
Ooh.
Insulting. Unbelievable.
Ooh.
Another big Chiefs game, not international, but obviously noteworthy. Thanksgiving. Dallas Cowboys play on Thanksgiving every single year. This time they will be hosting the Kansas City Chiefs on Thanksgiving. Thoughts on that? Big season for holidays for the Chiefs.
They want to be the new Christmas team.
Yes, and we'll get to Christmas in a second. But Thanksgiving, Cowboys, do you like them playing? When was the last time Chiefs played on Thanksgiving?
Oh, man, I couldn't tell you. Yeah, I couldn't tell you last time they played on Thanksgiving. I off the top of my head, at least, I don't know. Finally, I guess they're putting America's team on Thanksgiving's game. Finally. I guess, well, no, that's what it comes down to. They have to put America's team on, and so they're putting the Chiefs on.
Right. Not the Cowboys.
No, they're putting America's team on. The Chiefs.
Are you seriously claiming the Chiefs are the new version of America's team?
Yeah, 100%. What are you talking about? Who's going to bring more eyes than anyone else to the NFL or to a game? It's the Chiefs.
Yeah, but how much of that is Taylor Swift?
Doesn't matter.
Last time was 2006. Producer Sean and myself just found it at the exact same time. Guess who they played in 2006 on Thanksgiving? It was also the debut of Thursday Night Football. What a fun fact.
Cowboys.
Broncos.
Oh, man.
Chiefs won 19-10.
Oh, wow. Who was the quarterback? Like Brody Croyle?
I don't know if I can actually click on this game here. No, I can't. No.
Brady Quinn?
Yeah, but are they still? If Travis Kelce retires, let's say he retires this offseason for some reason, no more Taylor Swift at Chiefs games. Are they still America's team? Because right now they're America's team because of Taylor Swift
and because they win.
Well,
and Patrick Mahomes, they have the Steph Curry, the Michael Jordan. They're the Michael
Patriots
Jordan.
Were never America's team.
Smaller market too. Maybe Boston, I guess. Is that smaller market?
I think Boston's a bigger market than Kansas City.
Pretty close. I don't know. Mahomes was more likable than Tom.
Is he still?
Good call.
I don't know. So yeah, let's talk about producer Sean is coming in with the stats. Boston ranks number 9 in the United States. Kansas City ranks number 33. Yeah, Boston's a bigger market. Not America's team. Chiefs, right now they probably are because of Taylor Swift, but that's temporary.
There's no probably about it. They are.
Right now they would be America's team, but that's temporary.
And by the way, what's going to be funny in this one, how many people will be actually rooting for the Cowboys now on Thanksgiving? It's going to be hilarious. The Chiefs are so hated, they make the Cowboys lovable.
Yeah. Broncos Chiefs on Christmas. I saw that the Chiefs put in, and maybe you can kind of clarify this for me. I saw the Chiefs put in an application to become the Christmas team every year, but the NFL declined it, but then the NFL put them on Christmas anyways.
Yeah, they've been on Christmas now back-to-back years. It's fun once in a while.
Sorry, just to clarify, this is the 3rd year that they'll be on Christmas.
In a row?
Yes.
Oh, wow. I didn't know it was 3.
They lost to the Raiders in 2023.
Yeah, you're right. That's been 3 years in a row now. Wow, great call. Thanks for the reminder. I forgot. I've blocked that game out of my memory. Although that was they talked about that was the catapult for the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl that year was Christmas Day. They were just embarrassed by the Raiders.
That was the start of the championship TVD.
Yeah. So 3 straight years on Christmas. I've said once a decade's fun. Like once every 5 years max, but once every 7-8 years, it's kind of fun. Every year. Like, and I understand myself. I can take myself out of it, but I know so many people that Raiders game ruined their Christmas. Like, imagine watching the Falcons get curb stomped by New Orleans on Christmas. Would that be a fun day for you, or would that kind of mar your Christmas? I'm not saying everyone. Like for me, I didn't mind. I'm like, I can let it go. I'm like, I don't care. I'm here with family. I'm having fun. It's Christmas. That game, I can. There's other games. But imagine that for you. If the Falcons at that point, the Chiefs were struggling. They were starting to limp. And then they got curb stomped by a rival. That happens to New Orleans beating the Falcons on Christmas. That might make your Christmas not quite as enjoyable, correct?
Yeah, I can see that, yeah.
And so maybe I'm overlooking this, and maybe people don't care, but think of all the workers. I'm not even saying the players, because they're at least getting paid a good chunk of change. Think of all the concession workers. Think about the people.
I would hope they get a nice Christmas bonus.
You'd hope.
Yeah.
But you know how many concession workers there are? How many parking attendants there are?
Yep.
You think all those people are getting massive bonuses? And so that's what I think it comes down to. I guess I'm just a man of the people, Ian, noted man of the people. But it really, the security, the parking attendants, all that stuff. And I know no one cares about the media, but it does suck you got to work on Christmas. It does suck for Casey, you got to work on Thanksgiving. It does suck a lot of time. Last year's New Year's Eve. Like and then no one cares. I get it. Boo-hoo. I know no one cares. But it's not even about the media. It's all about the workers. It's all about the people who no one really thinks about. And that's why. Once every decade, fine. It's kind of fun. Every year, man, that's a bummer. That's missing Christmas for those workers every year.
The bright side in terms of the NFL schedule this year is Christmas does land on a Thursday. Last year, it being on a Wednesday was crazy. But at least Thursday makes a little bit more sense for when a football game is going to take place.
Well, they talked about this. They were never going to play on Wednesday. And they did last year.
Yeah. So what happens when Christmas falls on Sunday? Do they put most games on Saturday and then turn Sunday into a big thing, or they just put all games on Sunday?
Oh, good call. I do not know. I have not even thought of that. We will talk about that in 5 years. 4 years. 3 years.
Does that work? Is it always just one, like, is next year Christmas on Friday, is a year after Christmas on Saturday? And
I guess leap year somehow will throw it off.
True.
So I don't know off the top of my head. Sorry, I'm a dumbass. I don't know.
The next time Christmas will be on a Sunday will be 2033. So we have 8 years before we have to deal with that.
Okay, we're good. Yeah,
I think we're all right.
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
All right, that's pretty much it in terms of schedule. A couple other things I wanted to talk about, unless there's something else you wanted to bring up with the schedule.
Well, what do you think about Christmas Day games? I know the Falcons aren't, but just in general, do you?
I'm fine with Christmas Day games, except for when it falls on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. I think if it falls on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, go at it. Take over the NBA. Who cares? I like it. I'm not an NBA guy anyway, so it's not like it's gonna change from me watching NBA to watching football. So I like it. Gives me something to do. Afternoon of Christmas Day.
So you don't care about the people, okay?
I'm going to assume they get paid extra money on those days and then not actually look into it, because they probably don't, and then I'll feel bad about it, but I'll just assume that they do, and then I'm guilt-free.
Okay.
I'll assume it's like volunteer, and they send out like an email and they're like, hey, anyone who wants to work Christmas, you get paid like double time and a half, but you don't have to, and you can stay home if you want to.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. And maybe they do.
I work Christmas. What about me? I work Christmas.
Yeah, we all do too.
Well, where's sympathy for me? Is what I'm wondering. It's a joke. Just joking.
You won't get it here. World's smallest violinian.
Derek Carr retires in a little bit of a surprising move, but he has been in the NFL. Once he kind of retired and I looked into it, he actually has. I still look at Derek Carr as being like a young quarterback, but he's actually been around. I think he played in the league 11 years, so he's not young, but still a little bit of a surprising move. It seemed like he was trying to avoid surgery. It seems like the general consensus amongst the doctors that he was seeing was that he would have to take surgery or have surgery. Instead of doing that, he just opted to retire. Any closing thoughts on Derek Carr's career, who was a good quarterback, not great, but you can make a nice living, and he did, being a good quarterback.
I really like Derek Carr. I like him a lot.
As a person, yeah.
It's a real big bummer that he played for the Raiders as long as he did.
Yeah.
And it's a bummer that he ended up leaving the Raiders the way that it transpired as well. Because that guy was so damn loyal to the Raiders, and for what they did, to me, was a little ridiculous. And I think the Raiders got somewhat what was coming to them. When they got rid of Derek Carr, things went downhill quick. I mean, it just unraveled. It always looks better, and then you realize, okay, yeah, that was not better. That was 12 times worse. I feel bad for the injuries he sustained in New Orleans. He did it on a somewhat dumb play, but on a hustle play, trying to pick up a couple extra yards. I've had a chance to talk with Derek Carr multiple times, and he's just seems like a really good guy. Like, hung out and talked way longer than he had to, gave us way more information than he needed to, got into the rivalry with Kansas City, but actually talked about it, talked about how much he respected the Chiefs fans and how, he's like, they booed me mercilessly and like all this stuff. But he goes, I still want to take my son to Arrowhead one time and just go in there. It just as a fan. He's like, I just want to sit with them. Just want to sit in the crowd. They'll probably boo me, but he's like, that's okay. Like, I just want to experience, like, just a very thoughtful guy. So I always thought he got a little bit of a bad rap. I always loved making fun of the eyeliner that it looked like he wore, like he was in some like 80s hair metal band. End of the day, though, Derek Carr had a really nice career. You mentioned it, like 11 years in the NFL.
I want to shout out his 2016 season specifically. 12-3 record with the Raiders, third in MVP voting, 28 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions. Kind of a forgotten season by Derek Carr, but he was fantastic that year. And you kind of forget how good the Raiders were that year.
Yeah.
They just randomly had an extremely good year back in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were one and done in the playoffs, though. Or was that, did he get hurt and then not play in the playoffs, or did he play?
I can't remember now.
I can't remember.
It's a good call. I do forget.
Didn't play. There we go. My memories. Producer Sean confirms he did not play. I still got my memory a little bit. Yeah, he had a great year, got hurt near the end of the season, and then didn't play in the playoffs. Didn't make the playoffs, had one career playoff game against the Bengals the year the Bengals went to the Super Bowl there in 2022. Close game, actually. They had the ball late in the game with a chance to tie. Came up a little bit short, so he's 0-1 in the playoffs. And
that was with the interim head coach. I think that was with Rich Bisaccia.
Yes, I believe it was. Yep. So shout out Derek Carr. Hey, he had a long career, and that's more than what you can say about most quarterbacks in the NFL. The Saints depth chart, and man, you just hate to see this. The Saints now at quarterback. Tyler Shaw, still don't know how to pronounce his name.
Shuck, I think.
Schuck,
I think.
Shuck. That's
believe so.
There's no way it's Shuck. Tyler Shuck, Spencer Rattler, and Jake Haener is the Saints quarterback room. Shug. Producer Sean says Shug. Shug? Tyler Shug. That makes more sense. Shug. Tyler Shug, Spencer Rattler, and Jake Haener is the Saints quarterback. The Saints now have the worst odds to win the Super Bowl this year.
I love how you go. You hate to see it. You hate to see it.
Oh, man, that sucks. Shoot. Damn. Good stuff. Actually,
are they worse than the Panthers? Do you think they are?
Yeah, especially with the way Bryce Young played in the second half of the season last year. They got a young team. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right.
If Bryce Young reverts back to like with the way he played in his first season plus 5 games, and yeah, they're probably equally as bad, but Panthers are 140-1 to win the Super Bowl. Saints are 300-1. Saints are 10-1 to win the NFC South. Panthers are 4-1.
Yeah.
Trey Hendrickson, a little bit of an interesting situation here. Were you with me when I talked to Trey Hendrickson draft week, or was that Cody that was with me?
That was not me.
Okay, so that was Cody. So obviously at that point in time, it kind of seemed like he was going to be traded, but then it kind of seemed like a little bit after that the Bengals were going to figure something out. He was not going to show up to their mini camp. He then received a text from Zach Taylor that was basically like, you have to show up. And then he showed up. And I don't know, Sterling, if you watched the interview that he did outside their facility, fascinating. Very well-spoken guy. I like Trey Hendrickson a lot, but he was basically, he's pissed.
Was it a 22-minute long conversation? I didn't listen the whole 22 minutes, full transparency.
There's one clip that's I think like 5 minutes. That's probably what's worth listening to.
And what's funny is I kind of understand where people are coming from. They go, well, then why did you sign the contract if you're not going to play that final year on it? Right? I get that. Yeah, you signed that contract. Yeah, understandable. But that's just not the reality of it in the NFL. Because if a guy sucks, there's probably no guaranteed money left in the contract, and it's getting ripped up by management, right? If a guy gets injured and then kind of comes back, but the team's like, we're not paying this guy, the guaranteed money in that final year is almost always already paid up front. So you're just going to cut him and save him, and he's not going to see a dime of that money. It's not guaranteed contracts like in baseball, right? So I do think when people say, well, you signed the contract, I understand where you're coming from, but NFL contracts are not like NBA, and they're not like Major League Baseball. There are so much differences in those style of contracts. Almost always that final year is funny money, and a lot of times guys don't even believe they're going to see that contract. Fair or not, that's the reality of the situation. And again, fair or not, that final year is almost always redone because the player finally thinks he has some leverage, that he finally thinks that he has some sort of advantage, because when they're on their rookie deal, they don't. Rookie contracts are so undervalued if you're good. Now, I know that was in New Orleans for Trey Hendrickson. Still, point remains. I don't know where they go from here, though. The Bengals are cheap. We know this about them. Trey Hendrickson is an absolute stud, phenomenal player. I guess if you're the Bengals, you have to trade him and try and get draft capital, but I don't know what you're going to get for him. The rumors were they tried to shop him and they got nothing, no good interest, because whatever team trades for Trey has to then turn around and make him one of the highest paid edge rushers in the NFL, where edge rushers, that market has just exploded. It's a bad situation for both parties, because the Bengals won't get hardly anything for him, and Trey's sitting here going, well, with the market exploding, I want that money, but I don't think any team is going to give it for me at this point, because a lot of these teams already have their salary caps figured out for 2025.
Yeah, I want to read his quote here. He says, quote, "A little bit transpired between me and Zach. We've tried to keep it as least amount as personal as possible, but at some point in the process, it becomes personal. Being sent 30 days before a mandatory camp, or how many ever days it is that if I don't show up, I'll be fined, alludes to the fact that something won't get done in that time frame. With the lack of communication post-draft, made it imminently clear to my party," meaning my wife, my son, my agent, and a small group of people, "that I had informed them that this might not work out. I don't think it was necessary. I think we should have all hoped for the best until proven otherwise." End quote. Yeah, so things aren't good. So I don't know how, if this is his relationship with their head coach, it has now become personal in his words. I don't know how they figure it out. But now at this point, I also don't know how he ends up, like you said, kind of on a different team.
It's a no man's land.
Yep.
And I believe he said he was going to not play in any games, correct?
Yeah, I don't have that in front of me, but I saw that as well. So... But also, I mean, he showed up to minicamp because he didn't want to get fined. So, I mean, he'd get fined if he didn't play games. So,
yeah, you'd miss a game check too, which are huge. Yeah. So we'll see how this plays out as the offseason moves on. I want to end off on this, Sterling. This has been maybe the biggest news throughout the NFL. And it's actually not related to NFL. I guess it's kind of related to college football a little bit more so. But this is amazing, because not only are the Saints the worst team in the NFL, my biggest enemy in Bill Belichick is going through an issue with him and his
22-year-old girlfriend, I think is her age, Jordan Hudson, who you guys don't need me to recite everything that's happened because you have to be living on a rock if you don't know, but she's basically taken over as his agent, his manager. She demands to be put in commercials. She shouts things off camera during interviews with Bill. She's 24. Producer Sean corrected me. She's 24 at the moment. She demands to be CC'd on emails for UNC football. There was a story that came out that UNC, Pablo Torre did a huge podcast on this, that UNC banned her from the facility. Then they came out and said that she's not banned from the facility. It is just a complete disaster. And once again, another thing that you hate to see it.
Yeah, shocking. Shocking that this has been a disaster. Who would have thought?
And apparently anytime that she speaks up, and you kind of see it in that was CBS morning interview that he did, that kind of, made it started all of this dialogue about it. He just sits there and just doesn't say anything. He doesn't even have a facial reaction when she's going on tirades and storming out of interviews and demanding to be put in commercials. He just sits there with no emotion on his face.
It is perplexing. I don't understand this. I get why, if you're a UNC player or imagine you're a UNC assistant coach.
Imagine you're a booster and paying this team millions of dollars, and you see this 24-year-old woman storming around the field in her high heels giving orders.
Yeah, I just think if you're an assistant coach, you're sitting here going, like, my wife's not allowed here, but yet his girlfriend is allowed to try and run things?
Right. And
allegedly,
just I'm not saying that women can't run football teams. This is a 24-year-old woman who has no experience in the sport whatsoever.
Like, imagine, okay, let's just say there's a woman coach, right? Let's say like Dawn Staley at South Carolina, and let's just say her husband came in and was trying to run things. You'd be
or she's now dating a 24-year-old guy, and he shows up to practice and tries to run things.
That's my point. You're like, no, because she's look at what she's done here. Like, look at. Yeah, it's just, that would be, if you're the assistant on that team, you would have to be furious, I'd have to imagine.
Yeah. So the next stop in this story, we're not going to dive to, because everyone already knows the story anyways. June 1st, apparently he can opt out of the contract, and it only costs him like $1 million or something along those lines. So that's the date that people are looking at next, because they think this is now just going to, this is going to end. Because it's been nothing but a disaster.
The only way it ends, though, is if he got an NFL job. So there's no NFL opening.
Well, he doesn't need to work, first of all. He's like, I think he's fine. So I think they're basically telling him, like, it's either your girlfriend or us. And he's going to choose his 24-year-old girlfriend. And the final thing I want to say about this is, for the people who said the Falcons screwed up a couple years ago because they didn't hire Bill Belichick, I want a written apology from every single one of you. The Falcons saw this coming from a mile away. He was already dating her. I bet you it had an influence in it. And thank God the Falcons didn't go down that route. And now they look smart. But now everyone who made fun of the Falcons for not hiring Bill Belichick, they're pretending like they never said it. I want written apologies from all of you.
What about for the guy that said that the Falcons should sign Kirk Cousins? Does he have to write an apology to Falcons fans?
I can't predict injuries. Fact or fiction. Kirk Cousins holds the record for the most passing yards in a single game in Falcons history.
That is a fact.
Fact or fiction. His game completely fell off after he got a shoulder injury. Fact.
Somewhat fiction, because it was kind of before then, too.
I stand by Kirk.
I like Kirk. But that was you.
Also, how good is, like, Tom Brady, ever since that, like, breakup between those two, Tom Brady has done nothing but look good coming out of this situation, and Bill Belichick has just continued to look worse.
I think look good strong. I think the whole Giselle thing wasn't ideal.
No, but I mean, like, he went to Tampa Bay and won another Super Bowl, and Bill Belichick, I don't think ever returned. No, he's in the playoffs. Mac Jones rookie year, I think.
Yeah.
But like, his teams were never good again after Tom Brady left, and now he's like being. It's kind of like elder abuse by like a 24-year-old. And he's doing Instagram pictures with her of him like dressed up as a fisherman and she's a mermaid, and him doing like the airplane with her on the beach. Like, he looks terrible.
If it makes him happy, it makes him happy.
Oh, sure. Yeah. But more and more and more, it's looking like Tom Brady's the reason why Patriots won all those Super Bowls, not Bill Belichick. Good. I wish him well.
Sounds like it.
Hate to see it. All right, that's the show. We're back next Wednesday, 5 p.m. Eastern. I never even brought it up. And it's all or nothing tonight for my Maple Leaf Sterling. It's now or never.
Oh, man.
2-0 series lead, lost 2 straight games. We're back in Toronto for game 5.
Sounds like never.
Sound probably going to be never. But no, I'm being optimistic. Big game tonight. Big game. Here we go. All right. Thank you so much. Do you have any final thoughts, Sterling?
Yeah, I'm rooting for you. Okay? Because I feel bad.
Thank you.
And
one win one time that's it.
And I hope there's no hole in one. Because I saw what you put on for the PJ
I have a lot of money on no hole in one for the PJ Championship.
Yeah, so I'm rooting for no hole in ones because I want to still, have you around.
Yeah, I might have to sell my computer and my camera if there's a hole in one this week. Yes, Sean did say we didn't bring this up. Chicago producer Pope before a 4,000-yard passer.
Think of it this way. The Pope probably knows, who Mark Burley is.
Yeah, there's footage of him at a White Sox World Series game.
That's my point. The Pope probably knows John Danks and Bobby Jenks are.
Crazy.
Probably loves Aaron Rowand. Think of it. There's a Pope out there that loves Aaron Rowand.
Yeah, crazy. Crazy.
Yeah, Juan Uribe.
If the Bears win the Super Bowl this year, I'm going to be pissed. That's borderline cheating if the Bears win a Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, probably.
All right, that's the show. We'll be back next Wednesday, 5 p.m. Eastern. Have a good week, everyone. Bye.